Hello everyone. In this video we are going to discuss the equation of a circle. But before we go to the equation of a circle, have you ever wondered what a circle is? This is the locus of a point P which is equidistant from a fixed point C that we are calling the center. But when we measure the distance from the fixed point C to P, it is going to be a constant, and it's what we are going to call the radius of this locus of point P, which we are referring to as a circle. So if we consider this definition translated from words into graphics, you'll find if we have a Cartesian graph xy, if P is now, that is the point, and it has made a locus, and it has got a point C which is fixed, and this point, let us assume it has coordinates of hk. Now this point P has coordinates x, y. We will find that if we measure this distance from here, this is, we are going to call it B, and then from this point to this vertical point, we call it A, and this other distance CP, we said it is a constant. If this is to be called a circle, then if it is a constant CP, we are saying let it be R, or what we may later on call radius. Now, let us borrow some knowledge from Pythagoras' theorem. So if we borrow knowledge from Pythagoras' theorem, we find that according to Pythagoras' theorem, that a squared plus b squared is equal to this cp squared, which we are calling r squared. But now what is a? A is going to be the distance from this C to the point, to the vertical line drawn from P. So what is that distance? Since according to what we know that actually the length of this point, it is going to be from the distance from here to here is going to be the distance from here. If, for example, we are looking at a point here, okay, and then we are saying from here to here is h in the x direction, then from here to here is y. Now, when we maintain the x-axis, we shall see that from here to here is c, but also from here to here is x. So what is this distance a? It is going to be x minus, we said this distance here is h actually, it is going to be h. So it will be x minus h squared plus b squared, which is also going to be y minus k, everything squared, and this is r squared. So in simple terms, the equation of this circle or of this locus of point P is always going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, whereby we are going to define this and say that h k c is what we are calling the center, then r is called the radius of the circle. Now, to make this understandable, we are going to put in some figures and be able to get the equation of the circle. Now, look at this first of all. When you meet such an equation, it will tell you that this is the same as x minus 2. If they tell you to state the center, first of all, you have to rearrange it in the other form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So when we come to this, we have x minus 2 squared, which is okay, plus y minus 3 squared, which is okay. But now we have to play around with the right-hand side where we have 4. So we are going to say this is y minus 3, of course, squared, and the square root of 4 is 2. So when we square 2, we will get back to 4. So we'll have 2 squared. So what does that mean? If I compare this equation and this, it automatically tells me that my center C of coordinates h, k are going to be C, h here, when I look at this and that, h is 2, okay? Then what about k? K is 3. So I put 3. So my center is 2, 3. What about the radius? So radius is going to be the square root of 4, which is going to be the square root of 4. And here we take a positive value, which is going to be 2. So we have the center 2, 3, and the radius 2. Let's go to another part so that we get another example to understand this more. So we can see if we arrange this again in the form of x minus 2 squared, or in form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, we'll have x minus 2 squared plus y plus then minus. Or we can actually say this is y minus. Then remember this is a positive, so I can say this is minus 3, okay, squared equals the square root of 9 is 3. 3 squared. So what does that one tell me? It tells me that if I compare it with the general form, I will have my center C of h k equaling to C. H here is 2, whereas my h this other side, it is negative 3. Then what about the radius? The radius is obviously the square root of 9, which is 3. So radius r is equal to 3. Let's go to another part and we do another example. Here we have x plus 2 squared, then plus y plus 3, everything squared equals 25. Now what do we do here? We also arrange it in the form of, we said it has to be arranged in the form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So what does that mean? I'll have my x, then minus, into negative 2, then everything squared, plus y minus into minus 3, then I square this. Then what is the square root of 25? It is 5. Then I square it so that I get back to this equation. Because obviously I don't need to change the meaning, the mathematical meaning of this equation. So if I compare it with this equation, I find that here my h is equal to negative 2, and here my k is equal to negative 3. What does that mean? My r also is equal to 5. So the center here, therefore C, will have coordinates of -2, -3, and with radius r equal to 5 units. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all about a circle. We have first of all said a circle is the locus of a point P about a fixed point C. But of course, we are saying that point P is equidistant from point C. And then the distance CP is a constant all around. And we have defined it to be the radius of that circle. Then we have gone ahead to use the Pythagoras theorem to generate the general form of this equation. Now, let's go ahead and we expand this general form. We have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. What does this mean? We have x squared minus 2xh plus h squared. Then plus y squared minus 2ky plus k squared is equal to r squared. Now, what if we bring this r this side and we arrange and correct right terms together? We will have x squared plus y squared, okay, then plus, then minus 2hx plus minus 2ky, then plus, I said we have x squared plus k squared minus r squared is equal to 0. So if we summarize this equation and we say it is x squared plus y squared, then plus, we call this one ax, then plus by, then plus c is equal to 0. What does that mean? It is going to tell us that obviously our a is going to equal to -2h. Then our b is going to be -2k. What about c? C is going to be h squared plus k squared minus r squared. So, ladies and gentlemen, if given a form of the equation of a circle of this kind, then you can easily tell the center of that particular circle. For example, let us look at this example. We have an example like determine radius and center of a circle of radius of the equation. We are saying determine the radius and center of a circle of equation, which we are going to write as x squared plus y squared, then minus 6x plus 4y is equal to 12. Now, we have a number of ways we can do compression of squares, or we can also use the above method of taking the constants a and b. Then we find the values of h and k, then we tell the center. Then we look also at c, then that c will determine the values of actually r, because we already have the value of h and k. So let us look at the method 1, which we already know that if I arrange this equation x squared plus y squared minus 6x. Okay, let me say maybe plus minus 6x, then plus 4y minus 12. This is equal to 0. Let us compare it with x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. So obviously we are saying that a is going to equal to negative 6. And remember we said it is equal to negative 2h. So that means h, obviously our h is going to be 6 out of 2, which is equal to 3. Then we can also say that e, which is equal to, now 4 is equal to negative 2k. So what does that mean? It means that k is equal to 4 divided by negative 2, obviously, which gives you negative 2. What about c? We said c is equal to h squared plus, okay, a squared minus r squared. Now we already know c. Our c is negative. Our c is negative 12. So I'll have negative 12, which is equal to what is h squared? H squared is going to be h squared. We know h as 3. So we'll have 3 squared, then plus k squared, which is minus 2 squared, then minus r squared. What does that mean? I can bring my r this side and the 12 this side, so that I have r squared, which is equal to 9 plus 4 plus 12. So this is 13 and this is 12, which gives you 25. So r is equal to square root of 25, which is 5. For this case, we always take the positive side. Okay? Now that is method 1. Method 2 would be to complete these squares. So we have x squared, okay, minus 6x. Then we have also y squared plus 4y, and this is equal to 12. What does that mean? It means that I can have this as x. First of all, to complete the square, I'm going to take half of the coefficient of this. Okay? After taking half of this coefficient, I square it. Then I add it both sides, here and the other side, so that I have, at the end of the day, I'll have x minus 3, because half of 6 is, of negative 6 is negative 3. So if I add it on x, I can square it, and then I'll have x minus x squared minus 2 times 3 times x, which becomes minus 6, and plus 9. So that means I'll add here, I will have plus 9, so I can subtract there 9. Then there I have completed this kind of square. So I also have, because this can be a difference of two squares, so this y squared plus 4y, I also have to take half of the coefficient of y, which will be 4 divided by 2, I get 2. Then I will have to square that coefficient, half of the coefficient. I subtract it here and add it. So at the end of the day, I will have to find myself having the other 4 added on here. So that if I subtract it this other side, I'll find myself having not changed this statement. So I'll have y plus 2. So when I square this, I'll have y squared plus 4y plus 4. So that means I need to subtract there 4, which is equal to 12. So what does that mean? I'll have x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equaling to 25. which is equal to 5 squared. What does that mean? It leaves you with h here, h which is equal to 3, k which is equal to negative 2, and that would mean that your center C will be 3, negative 2, and R will be 5 units, which is agreeing with this method. So, ladies and gentlemen, given this kind of information, you are able to determine any kind of equation of a circle. As long as it is a circle, with this information, you can determine the equation of the circle. I want to thank you for tuning in and see you in the next lecture. Thank you.